This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas. Magazine publisher and entrepreneur Judith Mancini is sharing captivating conversations with experts in their field about the latest trends in our ever-changing world to help you become healthy, wealthy, and wise. Judith Mancini Today will spark your interest and inspire you to lead your best life ever. And now, here's Judith.
Judith Mancini Today is sponsored by Basic Brands, Inc., providing the highest quality specialty products in the natural food industry. Visit basicbrandsinc.com and enter JMT15 for your 15% discount on your first order, including their best-selling vitamin E ointment, which helps restore moisture and elasticity to your skin. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I'm happy to have you with us today. As you can see, the title of my show today is I Did It My Way. Did you? Do you have high hopes? Well, this comes from Frank Sinatra singing this little song that was about a little old ant who thought he'd poke a hole in a dam. And everybody knows an ant can't poke a hole in a dam, but he had high hopes, high hopes. Do you have the determination to change your life and make it more full of joy and productivity and abundance? And remember, abundance isn't just about the money and the gold and the jewelry. It's about your happiness and your health. That's a life with abundance, your friends and your family. Okay, guess what? There's only 17 days until the beginning of 2023. I can't believe I have been so blessed to be seeing all of these wonderful things that are happening since the turn of the century. Everybody should feel blessed. Some things have not been so great, but other things have been absolutely wonderful. We've gotten grandkids during this time, so that's always a blessing. Okay, I want to relieve some of the stress of the holidays by being organized and not overspending and honoring traditions and adding some new traditions. I want you to take time out, even if it's only for an hour, so that you can rest and not be grumpy with your kids if they're opening the gifts too slowly or they don't want the gravy on the mashed potatoes. I want you to be happy with the old uncle that continues to try to argue with you over everything. And your response to him is, I like to argue. I think I should be an attorney. Yes, I had one of those uncles, but I didn't end up being an attorney. I just ended up being very outspoken. So I want you to take that time out for yourself, whether you get a manicure and a pedicure or do it yourself at home or take a bubble bath or a hot shower and then a cold shower. You take that hour out so you'll be prepared mentally and spiritually for the unexpected. I want to tell you about one of my very dear girlfriends who a couple of weeks ago unfortunately discovered her mother-in-law was slipping into dementia, and her own mother became very ill and had to enter the hospital. So she had so much on her plate. Of course, she has her own family, and they've recently relocated, and she's building a business of her own, and her husband's very supportive. But she found herself having to go and take care of the mother-in-law and the mother, because who was going to do it? She loves them both, and they all had a wonderful life together. So she was flying back and forth. Now everybody is settled down again, and life moves on, but you remember these people who have been ill, and thank God that her mother is recovered from being in the hospital and that they've settled her mother-in-law where she is happy and being taken well care of, since they don't all live in the same area anymore. So that's what I mean by being prepared mentally and spiritually for the unexpected. You know, I want you to be kind also during this season, because you never know what your friends are going through or what the new person that you've just met at a holiday party is going through. And it's very trying to deal with at this time of the year. But remember, kindness is usually returned, and you may be in the same position sometime. So remember what you want and how to act during the Christmas season of celebrating the birth of Christ in the Christian religion. Now, I've suggested to you to take the time to make a list of things you would like to pursue and accomplish in 2023. So I made a list of things that you should use to reignite your life and business. And I want to share with you 7 attributes absolutely essential for turning your life around. I want you to grab your pen and paper and take some notes. These are things that I have used through my life and many, many more, but I've broken it just down into 7 things for you today. And I've used them in both my businesses, my publishing business and my natural skincare business. And I use them daily for different reasons. It's a code to live by. Number 1, do you have the courage of your convictions, even if others criticize your ideas and say you're wrong or doomed to fail? Do you have the courage to continue what you want to do to change in your life or your business, or to start a new business, or to start a new life? Okay, write that down. The next one is integrity. I'm a big one on this. I cannot stand people who lie to me. And unfortunately, we even see this in the public now. It's not just some little child saying, "No, I didn't pull the doggy's tail." It's worse than that. There are people lying on television, in the press, in their public lives. It's gotten to be that you can try to do whatever you want and say whatever you want. So I want you to always remember that you should be ready to be real and share the truth about your journey without exaggeration or closing over the ups and downs of life. Sometimes I can't read my own writing on my notes, and I should know this by heart because I wrote it years ago to break it down to make it more simple for people learning to become coaches, life coaches in their pursuit of happiness. Number 3 is passion. Will you feed your desire to succeed, finding happiness and joy in creating an abundant life and business? Do you have the passion to do that, or are you just doing something that somebody told you to do? Maybe you have a bucket list that you want to do, and you could be passionate about it, but everybody's telling you, "Oh, you're never going to travel if you're by yourself. You're never going to go see the pyramids in Mexico or Egypt. You're never going to go through the jungles of the Amazon. Or you're never going to create that coaching job that you want. You're never going to do a podcast. You're never going to find a way to teach people how to knit and embroider. If you don't have the passion to do it, why should somebody follow you? Why should somebody ask your help in creating an abundant life of friendship if you don't pursue it also? So maybe if you meet a new person and you think they're amusing and intelligent and fun to be with at this holiday party where you met them, why don't you pick up the phone and give them a call and see if you can't continue this after the holiday season? And perhaps it may open up whole realm of new friends for you, somebody that might like to go hiking with you, somebody who may really have wanted to embroider all their life. And now that they're seeing it out there again, maybe they want you to teach them. All right, the other thing is number 4 is tenacity. Now that you're a bit older and have more time, perhaps you could spend it to bring more joy into your life. If you find the going gets tough trying to do these different things during this time of stress and strain in our economy, there are different things that you can do on the side to try to improve your circumstances. And you have more time, and there's a lot of lonely people in hospitals and nursing homes that would love to have somebody come visit them. But you need to have the tenacity to figure out how to do this. Tenacity, you just keep working and working at it. You push yourself through the ups and downs, and you will stick it out and find that you have increased your circle of friends or improved your business success. Number 5 is nourishment, and this really goes into what's in the title of my podcast, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise. Nourishment to me is being willing to continue to study and learn new things. I love watching the Discovery Channel and National Geographic because they go back and they talk about ancient history. I love to talk about the pyramids. I love to go see the pyramids, and I've been very lucky to do that in Mexico and see how civilization started here in the Americas. It's quite fascinating, but it's also nourishing your body as well as your mind. And in our health segments, we try to talk to you about your diet, your exercise, and what you're doing to stay healthy. You're stretching it out because as we grow older, our ligaments, our tendons, our bones, everything becomes a little weaker. That's because our cells are starting to die in our body. That's just the normal way life goes as you age. But there are ways where you can slow the process down, and that's what we try to help you do. Number 6 is consistency. Once you've written your list of what you want to do, whether it's your bucket list of where you want to travel to or accomplish learning how to paint or throw pottery, and I don't mean at the wall at your husband because you're upset. I mean throw pottery and make beautiful vases or beautiful plates. Maybe you want to do that. But if you don't go to classes and you're not consistent with it and you don't practice that painting every day and get better and better, then how can you focus on bringing the joy to your life and the abundance of your business monetarily? The last thing, and I always save this for very last because to me it's the most important thing and it's what's gotten me through my life to this point, is spirituality. For me, and I hope for you, my ability to find my inner strength and shine in my daily life is through my belief in a higher power. My belief is in God. And I talk to him all day long. And I'm sure if you follow any kind of spirituality, you will find that the key to happiness and joy and abundance and to succeed in life and be happy comes from some spirituality. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to believe in. I'm here just to tell you that I think everyone should believe in a higher being or a higher spirit. And I think you will see that many successful people do believe this, and they try to share it with you. So those are my 7 things that I want you to think about. And I hope you wrote them down. And I will be speaking about them on and off during our next few podcasts. But it is the holiday season, so I do want to spend some time having fun with you. Right now, I want to take a little break. I just want to speak to you about this new product that I've been telling you about. It's dry eye formula. It's from Basic Brands Inc., which is our show sponsor. But I was talking to the owner the other day and I said, Lou's doing great, but he's on the computer so much that he's actually getting dry eyes. And he sent me this bottle of dry eye formula. And I think I've told you he's been on it now for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. And his eyes are no longer dry like they were. And the main ingredients is fish oil from mackerel, sardines, and I always forget the last one, anchovies. So that's what I think. Let me just look here. Well, I can't find it. Oh, here we go. Mackerel, sardines, and anchovy. I was right. Okay. So fish oil helps all sorts of things. It keeps your cholesterol down. It keeps your heart healthy. But this particular formula with the vitamins and other ingredients in it really has helped my husband with his dry eye. So check that out too at Basic Brands Inc. I want to give you some good news today. There is good old Elon Musk that he has done something that I think will benefit you all. The prior administration owners over at Twitter have been removing what they consider false information. They didn't want anybody on there that was spewing anything that smacked of being against the COVID vaccines. But there are things wrong with the COVID vaccines. And two of the doctors that were trying to educate you about what is going on are let me turn this so I don't mispronounce their names, Dr. Malone, who is an mRNA scientist, discovering what that will do to you in your body, which is the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, and the side effects of it, as well as Dr. McCulloch, who is a cardiologist and has studied many patients since COVID started that have come in with heart problems of all sorts, and many of them have passed away, particularly young boys in their teens up to their 40s. So these are highly educated doctors, and they have done a lot of research, and I think you will benefit from looking for them on the internet someplace. You don't need to go to Twitter to see it. Quite frankly, they haven't even put anything back up on Twitter, although they both acknowledged it and said thank you. But I find that our age doesn't use social media the same way that teenagers and young adults do. So you might want to look at Google or look at the newspapers, wherever you find your news, and you can look them up on Wikipedia and different places like that to find out their backgrounds and what they've been discovering in their studies. Because I will tell you, I'm one person, I am not anti-vax. I do believe you should get measles, mumps, and rubella. I believe in the polio vaccine, particularly since my mother suffered from it. I believe in all kinds of vaccinations, but I don't believe in these COVID vaccinations. And I'm glad that my husband and I only took one course of the Johnson & Johnson. That's all there was for that. But even that has side effects, and I have experienced some of them with the tingling of my legs and my thighs and losing my hair, which is still very thin, which I know is partly my age, but it was increasing there for a long time after the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So I think that's a good thing. I also think to ban people and take them off when they're trying to express their political beliefs is wrong. I believe in free speech. And I'm glad that Elon Musk bought Twitter. I heard today he's lost a lot of money. Excuse me. But I think he'll make it back. I think people will bring back the advertising and what have you, and I think he'll be okay. But I'm not crying over billions of dollars for him. I think he's been really contributing a lot to humanity and to the United States with his various projects. And no, I don't drive a Tesla. I'm not sure that that's the right thing to be doing until they figure out how to keep them charged longer, how to get the batteries without having to go to China for some of the minerals and metals. There's a lot of things that we have to do to clean up our environment, and we should work on them, but we should also have a timeline that isn't crazy. 2003 is coming up, 2025 is not very far away. And there's no way, in my opinion, you can turn everything to electric vehicles. And nobody's told me yet how they're going to fly airplanes. And I don't think anybody would be too happy if they couldn't get to various countries to do business. Mexico, and that's close to the United States. Canada, and that's close. It's a little further to Europe for some of us. But you can't, what would you do? I mean, let's think these things through. Let's not just say stupid things to get votes. I think you're seeing that it doesn't do any good when the people really don't know what they're talking about. I want to tell you that I find it very odd that there's two things going on entertainment stations. One is Netflix. Actually, I guess they were both on Netflix. I'm not sure. AOC came out with her documentary on climate control and climate cleanup. I just saw a clip of it on television news, and there she is trying to backpack through the woods. What the hell she had on her back, I'll never know. I used to go backpacking, and I never had something that was that big on it, even though I carried about 50 pounds. It never stuck out like that. I'm wondering what she had. Did you have it filled up with little popcorn things that you pack up? Fragile things to mail them? What did she have? She couldn't say anything. I don't think she's ever been hiking a day in her life. I can't think that she would be sleeping outside. She's so off the wall. I'm wondering, does she ever work? Does she actually ever sit in her office in Congress? Does she go and vote? It's a little odd. She shows up at the Met, the Metropolitan Museum's a big party that it's $2,500 to get a ticket to go. And she has this crazy so-called evening gown on that says tax the rich. Not too classy, lady. They're paying your salary. I don't know. Give me something that is concrete and good that you do. And maybe you could switch my mind. I don't know. The other one is I'm embarrassed for the royalty of the UK. A lot of people are against the royalty and queens and kings and princesses and prince and duchesses and dukes and all of these things. It's their country. I think they should be able to do what they want. After all, the queen or king now, they're not passing laws. They're dealing with their parliament. But what pains me is these people are also human beings. And Queen Elizabeth, to me, was a wonderful lady who dedicated her life to their country. She started as a teenager and not accepting the fact that they wanted to ship her and her sister to the countryside where they would be safe from German bombs. She said she would stay in London with the rest of the people. And as being a teenager doing that, she has always struck me as being an outstanding, dedicated leader and queen of her country. And I just think that what her grandson, Harry, and his wife are doing is so wrong. It would be wrong even if they weren't royalty. To see clips of this documentary that they made with Meghan making fun of curtsying to the Queen, which maybe it's outdated. It used to be something beautiful to see. And saying that you wanted to protect the monarchy and the country. I don't see any reason to make fun of things like that. You've decided not to be part of the family, not to be part of the royalty because you say you don't approve of it. Well, as far as I can see, you don't even approve of the government in the United States. So what do you approve of, Meghan? It's sad. And to think that she has turned Harry into hating everyone is beyond the pale, as they say. He was close to his grandma. And for him to sit there and have to watch his wife do these horrible things, you can tell on his face that he is not going along with all of this. So why these people get these huge contracts with people like Netflix and all to do these absurd documentaries is beyond me. But apparently they had 80 million views, so there must be people that are interested in them. I'm not one. I might like to see the royalty with the pomp and circumstance to see how life was in the day and age. Not everything has to be political. Of course, people owned slaves in the UK also, but they were the first country to give them up, as well as everybody should have. I'm not condoning slavery, I'm just stating a fact. But I sincerely doubt that anybody in the royal family ever said anything racist about the heritage of Meghan. So there I am thinking about all of that. And I want you to at least watch the clips. I'm sure you can find some clips on Google or something so that you can see clips if you don't belong to Netflix or wherever they're showing it. And that is about all I want to say about them. So before we sign off, I want to, I keep telling you to make a list of things you need to do in 2023 and be organized. And as these severe storms come around again, devastating tornadoes and rain and floods, it reminds me that earthquakes come unannounced, and you need to have a go bag, whether it's for a natural disaster or a man-made disaster like a fire in your house, or even wildfires in California could get you. So today, I've gone over a list of things you need to have, like Mylar blankets and water, enough water for several days for people, sanitary products for women and everybody to take their business out in the wild if you need to, and power bars and things like that. But today I want to give you my list of things that are important papers and should be in your go bag. Now, I'm going to show you my go bag. Don't go away. I'm just lifting it up. This is my go bag. It's slightly fireproof. And I don't use it for artwork, jewelry, anything like that. What I use it for is putting my important papers in it, copies of them. If you haven't noticed, safe deposit boxes at banks are disappearing. They're getting rid of them. They don't want the liability, and they don't want people stashing drug money in them. So they're getting rid of them. But many people have safes in their homes. I used to have a safe in our home for important papers and things, extra cash for emergencies. So that's what our go bag is for, because we live in, we've downsized and we live in a lovely apartment. We've actually lived in apartments all over the country. I like them. They're taken care of. Everything is taken care of in them. So I do like them. I will admit this one's a little small because we use the office for other things. So this is my list. So did you get rid of that pen and paper, or you want to pull it out again? It's not a very long list of important papers, but they are, to me, the most important. So here we go. Your Social Security cards, your passports. Now, this is for your entire family. Me and my husband. I don't have my daughter's family papers in mine. She has them in hers. Okay? Social Security cards, passports, because we do travel. Birth and marriage certificates. Don't forget your marriage certificate. Why you would need it? Well, you might have to prove that you actually do have medical authority for your spouse. And they might ask to see the papers that you designated that on, but they might also ask for proof of marriage, particularly if you haven't been married for very long. The car title. Bet you don't think about that, do you? Okay. Well, if you're paying your car off, you might not have title to the car, but you do have registration for your car. And therefore, if you have a hard copy of that, you can backtrack when you get the time after this emergency. Okay. Your property deeds, if you own an apartment or you own a condominium or a house, be sure to take a copy of the deed. Now, you don't have to take the entire package of the real estate that the real estate people gave. I'm talking about one paper deed that says who owns your house, okay? And if you're still paying for your house, you need a copy of your loan agreement. And you need also your life insurance. So you need you need two insurances, or even more if you have more assets than that. So you need your life insurance, your property insurance, and how about your health insurance? You need that. And your Medicare, if you're on that. Whatever kind of insurance you have, you need a copy of it and your card. You know, these things can all be looked up after the fact, but you may not have access to your computer. Maybe you have your phone and you can look it up, but it's best to have the hard copies to get any kind of assistance going for you right away. Now, I think that you should have a couple of other things, and those are directives. Who to call if something has happened to you and your family. Do you have your daughter, your sons, your cousins, your aunts, anybody's information written down? Maybe you lost your phone in the flood as you were trying to swim out of your house. And maybe you'll lose your bag, but you need this in different places. You can mark your phone now for emergency people to call if something happens to you. My phone says emergency and my daughter's name. I'll give you a shot of that in a minute. Yeah, doesn't show it on this one. for some reason. Okay, well, I'm not going to show you a shot of that. I don't know why it says that, doesn't say that. All right, so you need those papers, and you should have somebody out of state that you can call. You know, my husband and I were over in Prague when 9/11 happened. And I couldn't reach my children. AT&T did a wonderful thing. They let you make any kind of calls and connected you immediately to people in the United States, which was very good. Now, maybe it's because we had an AT&T credit card with them, so you could make long distance calls when you're traveling, and it would go on the billing for your phone. That was a long time ago, as you know. And that's how things were done. Everybody didn't have these smartphones with them at that time. So I had a girlfriend. At the time we were on this trip, we were living in Beverly Hills. And although I have wonderful friends there, I didn't have the ones I have now, but I had really close friends in Pittsburgh, and I still do. And I had already asked my one girlfriend if we could use her as an emergency contact out of state for any kind of earthquake, fire, what have you. So that was wonderful. I had already set it up, and my children had her phone number. They were at home. They were teenagers. And we got through to my friend. And I was lucky enough to get a hold of my children, so they didn't need to call her, my teenage children. But I did get a hold of her and told her we were safe and we were coming home. And to just know that there was somebody out of state that we could get a hold of. If that had been an earthquake, maybe all of our communications would have been down, or maybe just one of us, and people wouldn't be able to find us. So that's why you need to have these phone numbers. And that, my friends, is about it for today. Now, I do want to tell you that Hanukkah is coming up, and I wish all of our Jewish friends happy Hanukkah. And that starts on Sunday at sundown. And Christmas is coming up shortly after that on the 25th. So next week on our show, I think I'm going to tell you about some Christmas traditions in the United States and in some of the other countries. Some of my friends from foreign lands, what they do, including my husband. And coincidentally, I just found out a dear friend of mine, his wife came from the same, her father came from the same small Italian city, if you can call it a city, as my husband, Ascoli Piceno. What a coincidence. So we will be talking about that. Now is the time of life when we are starting to lose many of our beloved family members. And I've gotten notices this week of several friends that have passed or that were celebrating their heavenly birthdays. It's a hard time of life for a lot of people. So that's why I say during the holidays, remember those that are not as fortunate as you and wish them well. And if they just need to sit and talk, just let them sit and talk. Or if they don't want to talk, leave them alone and let them sit by themselves if that's what they prefer to do. And there are a lot of people that are alone by themselves. So if you have the room, maybe you could invite one of them to Christmas or Hanukkah. I know when my husband was up turning a company around in Montreal, his people that owned the company were Jewish, and they kept inviting my husband, who was up there by himself. I was still taking care of things down here at home. And they kept inviting him to celebrate their different Jewish holidays and dinners, Seder dinners. And that was a wonderful experience in learning about other people's religions and faiths. So we will be talking about some of that next week. And traditionally on my podcast, when I was doing Dishing with Judith, just before Christmas, I would always read the grandchildren the night before Christmas. So I'm contemplating doing that. If you have any grandchildren, you want to hear that great old story about Santa coming to town, I may do that for you because that's always fun. So get ready to hang the stockings by the fireplace and be good so you don't get a lump of coal. And we will see you next week. And as I say goodbye to you and thank you for tuning in today with me, please remember to cherish yesterday, dream tomorrow, and live today. Thank you.